The night that changed everything was supposed to be a celebration, a glamorous Christmas party filled with laughter, music, and the warmth of holiday cheer. Tyler had believed in his marriage, in the love he and Lauren had built over nearly a decade together. He trusted her. He never doubted her. But that night shattered everything. The room shimmered with golden light as garlands hung chaotically along the walls, their glow reflecting off champagne glasses clinking in toasts. The air was rich with the scent of expensive alcohol, the sound of colleagues chatting and laughing filling the space. Lauren stood beside Tyler, radiant in a scarlet dress that hugged her curves, her smile bright, her presence magnetic. Watching her, he felt certain, despite the rough patches, despite the late nights at work, despite the nagging feeling in his gut, this was the woman he loved, and their bond was unbreakable. But illusions have a way of crumbling when least expected. For months, something had felt off. The way she hesitated before answering his questions, the distant look in her eyes when she thought he wasn't watching, the name that came up too often in conversation, Gavin. "Are you sure you don't talk about him too much?" Tyler had asked one evening, forcing a chuckle to mask the unease creeping into his voice. Lauren had laughed it off. "It's just work, Tyler. He's my boss. Honestly, he scares me, demanding, tough, but brilliant." He had let it go. Maybe he was being paranoid. Maybe he was seeing things that weren't there. But paranoia doesn't lead a man to an empty spot at a party where his wife should be standing. It doesn't send a cold rush of dread through his veins when a colleague hesitates before answering his question. "Have you seen Lauren?" I think she went upstairs." With Gavin, Tyler's world tilted. The elevator ride was silent, but his thoughts screamed. Each floor that passed felt like a countdown to something he didn't want to face. When the doors slid open, the corridor stretched out before him, eerily quiet compared to the party downstairs. Offices lined the walls, their glass partitions obscured by drawn blinds. The festive cheer was gone, replaced by something heavier, something sickening. And then he heard it. A soft whisper, a muffled moan. His breath hitched. His body refused to move. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back, to pretend he hadn't heard, to protect himself from the truth waiting on the other side of that closed door. But something stronger than fear pushed him forward. His hand turned the handle. And then he saw them. Lauren, her dress pushed up, her body tangled with another man's. Gavin, smirking, unapologetic, as if this was nothing. Lauren spun around, eyes wide with horror. "Tyler." The words were empty, meaningless. He laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "You didn't mean to?" His voice was too calm, too steady for the storm raging inside him. Gavin adjusted his tie, unfazed. "Maybe you should chill, man." Tyler clenched his fists. Cool down. Cool down." His marriage was burning to the ground, and this man, this smug bastard, was telling him to relax? Before he could think, his fist connected with Gavin's jaw, sending him staggering backward. The pain in his knuckles barely registered, drowned out by the pounding in his ears. But then he saw it. Gavin wasn't scared. He wasn't even angry. He was amused. And that's when it hit Tyler. Gavin was exactly who he had always been, a man with no respect for boundaries, no regard for others. He didn't destroy relationships. He didn't have to. Lauren had made her own choices. The weight of that realization crushed Tyler more than the betrayal itself. She knew how much he loved her. She knew he trusted her. And she did it anyway. His gaze shifted to her body trembling. Her lips parted as if searching for words that could fix the unfixable. "Tell me the truth." His voice was quiet now, dangerously steady. She hesitated. That hesitation was enough. "How long?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Tyler, please. How many nights?" He stepped closer, his voice colder than he had ever heard it. "How many times did I wait for you, thinking you were working late?" She sobbed, her head dropping. Silence. He already knew the answer. He exhaled slowly, the rage inside him hollowing out into something worse, emptiness. "Was I really that stupid to you? Or did you just not care?" She reached for him. "Tyler, I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll never see him again. Just don't go." But it was too late. "You didn't love me enough to stop then." His voice was calm, emotionless. "Why should I believe you will stop now?" Her sobs grew louder, her hands grasping at him like a drowning woman reaching for a lifeline. But he wasn't hers to hold on to anymore. Turning to Gavin, he let out a breath. "Good luck. Let's see how long it takes before she betrays you too." And with that, he walked away. He didn't look back. The days that followed were filled with messages, calls, desperate pleas. Lauren begged for a second chance, insisted on counseling, promised she would change. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw her in that office. He heard her whispering his name through guilty lips. By January, the divorce was finalized. The last time he saw her, she stood at his doorstep, eyes red, hands trembling. I left my job. I ended things with him. Please, Tyler, just give me one chance to fix this. He met her gaze, but all he felt was nothing. You broke everything we had. I'll never be able to glue it back together. She sobbed, but he had no comfort left to give. A month later, he heard she had left town, unable to face the whispers, the judgment. And then, 6 months after it all fell apart, a letter arrived. I lost you, and I realize now it was the biggest mistake of my life. If I could take it back, I would. Tyler read it once. Then, without hesitation, he tossed it in the trash. Some betrayals are too deep. Some wounds never heal. And some things can never be forgiven.